All right, so we're still working on the HOLGER here. The thing is I don't even need to explain how abysmally terrible the gun is. But real quick, thank you guys for all the love and support on the videos recently. Just still grinding away, man. Like, I couldn't ask for better support throughout something this terrible and stupid for somebody to do. So definitely people have been asking for new games and stuff. I recently, actually yesterday, it was funny, I mentioned it. As soon as I was done recording that video, I immediately ended up getting an email, which I got access to the UFC 4 beta. Got it, I've played it now. I have played UFC 4. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you can actually post a video of it or not, because I'm seeing on Twitch that people aren't allowed to stream it. So I don't really know what's going on with that whole thing, but yeah, I'm done with the whole ADS deal with this gun. I just ended up swapping it to a super fast ADS weapon. I'm not even gonna bother with it anymore. Nice. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you here, though. I straight up just lost that gunfight, by the way. Singular SMG bullet from a Fennec killed me faster than a full-blown 5.5. Never mind. I thought the HOLGER fired higher caliber rounds than an SMG, but maybe not. But whenever I'm allowed to, play the UFC or whatever, or make a video on it, I might. I'm not entirely sure. In this beta mode, you end up getting access to a few different fighters and stuff. You end up getting access to a bunch of the welterweights: Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz, Donald Cerrone, Conor McGregor, and more Damian Maia. There's actually a bigger selection than I thought. It's like 8 different fighters or something like that at welterweight. So apparently, UFC 3 was considered too complex for people to be able to just pick up and play, which I definitely kind of understood, that they want to make the game a bit more friendly for people to pick up and play. So they ended up changing the controls around, especially for the grappling. The striking is kind of straightforward. Actually, I'm going to go as far as to say that the striking almost feels exactly like how it felt in UFC 3. So with enough power, with good striking, good mixing it up and everything, you're still definitely going to end up having some nice knockouts, some nice, combos and stuff like that, being able to mix it up a little bit. The striking does seem, as far as speed goes, a little bit faster. It's a little bit more free. You can see the difference in how the grappling goes and how, like, the clinch work and stuff goes. It's a little bit more natural. So the game before felt like it was split up into, like, 3 different types of parts. It would be the striking, clinch work, and then the ground game with all the grappling and stuff like that. Obviously, there are different ways to deal with, the clinch work and the ground work and the striking in their own ways, defensively, offensively, just using it to get to a position that you want. Just because you're wrestling doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be all ground and pound, doesn't mean that you're only going to be all control, you know what I mean? This game it feels a little weird. Maybe I'll get used to it. I'm trying to give it a chance because I haven't spent that long with it, to be fair. But basically, in the middle of striking and stuff, before it would kind of be like, oh, I'm in the middle of striking, and then this guy goes for a clinch, and then now we're in like this whole mini game where no one does any damage until inevitably someone gets taken down. This game feels like the clinch is a bit more effective, but it's like free flow. It has a lot more animations and stuff, and a lot more positions that you could potentially be in. I don't know how to explain it. You'll see it if you ever play it, or whenever you see the gameplay on it. It doesn't feel as static between the transition to striking to clinching. It looks a bit more natural, and it feels a little bit weird. They said that they updated the physics and the ragdoll and stuff like that, but I'm gonna be honest, with the few knockouts that I've had, none of them seem like they were like UFC 2. UFC 2 definitely had the superior physics and stuff like that, and UFC 3 got complaints early into the game. The knockouts just didn't seem very satisfying. You would just hit them, and then it would just, their body would just shut off and they'd fall. But they felt really stiff. They didn't really seem very dramatic in their own ways. They just kind of feel a little weird. As whenever you're watching an actual fight, when someone gets knocked out, it seems a lot more dramatic than that, even if it is as simple as, oh, their body just shuts off. Something about UFC 2 made those knockouts just seem much, much more visceral. They ended up making those adjustments on UFC 3 to make it a little bit better, but still arguably UFC 2 still has better animations as far as the knockouts go. Whether that is, I don't know, like a predetermined thing, or the ragdoll is just a bit more free. I don't know. This game kind of seems like UFC 3, but maybe a little bit down from UFC 3. So we're in an even more shitty position as far as knockouts go, even with like the weird way that the controls feel. On top of that, if the knockouts just aren't entertaining to watch and everything, it's got to be fixed. You have to add something into the game to make people feel good other than just simplifying controls. Now, there is an option for people that have played the previous UFC games to turn on legacy controls. That's what I've done to make it a bit more familiar for me. Oh, I don't want to complain about the controls too much. Striking is dangerous, but not as effective somehow. I don't know how to explain it. It's fast, you can get rocked, you can get damaged, you can get downed and everything, but I haven't seen very many flash knockouts. I've seen also a lot of situations where I'm running 2 different, like, legendary AIs against each other, and anyone that has, like, high submission grappling skills always ends up on the ground and submitting people. I don't really know if that's just because of the legendary AI and just trying to submit people. It's just really good at it. The mini games back on UFC 3, whenever you're going for submissions and stuff, were a little annoying, a little awkward, a little weird, and a little strange to try to, you know, explain to somebody. I tried to simplify it by turning it into a different mini game. Every single time I ran Gilbert Burns, he submitted people. Even when I ran Gilbert Burns versus Gilbert Burns, he submitted himself. I've watched Kamaru as a legendary AI take Gilbert down and then just get repeatedly Kimura'd until he submits. I don't know if that's just an AI kind of thing. I don't really know, but haven't tried to, you know, play online or anything like that yet. I don't really know if you guys want me to do that. I honestly would rather wait for the actual full game to come out just so I can play the, you know, career mode, maybe some online match with REQUIS and stuff like that. I know a lot of people love to watch REQUIS with the online matches and all the ridiculous trash talk and just over-the-top stuff, but I'm definitely, the first thing I'm gonna do is the career mode. I'm not even gonna bother with online right away. So, to give quick feedback from the start here anyway, something that doesn't affect the game too much in any way, shape, or form, if any of you guys over at EA are listening, or the developers, or whoever it is that I need to talk to, make the knockouts a bit more dramatic. Make them more like UFC 2. I saw that he had replied to a tweet and he said that the physics are going to be that way. It doesn't look like it. It hasn't felt like it, so do more adjustments. More free-flowy. When I hit somebody in the chin, when their legs shut off, I want them to fall backwards on their legs. That happens in real life, man. Not just fall backwards and stiffen out, or fall backwards and their arms bounce around a little bit. I'm saying I want somebody to hit in the chin and fold like a fucking omelet. That's what we need. If we're going to make the game feel a certain way, at least make it very, very, you know, rewarding looking when you do win. Submissions overall, looking at it, I don't mind the system so much. I just don't know if, like, really high-level submissions are, like, really broken or not at the moment. I have no idea. But every single time I ran the AI, they always won by submission. And I watched full stamina Kamaru get submitted by a full stamina Gilbert. Ground transitions look really nice. A lot of the character models are updated, but some of them I could argue that it's not a big improvement over UFC 3. Given it's for this current gen, not PS5 or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know if they'll come out with like a new graphical updated one or whatever. It basically looks just like UFC 3. You probably won't even be able to tell the difference looking at them. Given there's not, as far as looking at them, there's not like this massive difference between the striking of UFC 2 to 3. There was a jump, but this jump here from 3 to 4 striking wise feels almost the exact same. It's just more so the flow of the game. Let me know what you guys want there. I don't know. I didn't know he was there. Now, watching the striking matches between legendary AI, like if I run like Donald Cerrone versus like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson or something like that, the matchups are insane. I'm watching a round 3 at the moment, and they are just shredding. Yeah, I mean, I think in the career it'll be fun. I'm hoping that the career mode at least has some interesting stuff to it. Even if it is the exact replica of UFC 3 with just a little bit more customization or whatever, I'm honestly just excited to get back to playing as REQUIS. So I'm recording this before the playlist update comes out, so I'm not entirely sure what kind of changes they're going to be making today, Tuesday, but Cerrone just won with a front kick to the jaw. It just laid him out flat, too. Again, even though that knockout, like, with the front kick to the face was sick to knock somebody out with, the knockout itself is actually not that satisfying. Like, it's crazy to knock somebody out with a front kick to the face, but you'd expect them, I don't know, he just kind of fell back like this. And it was just, I don't know, it wasn't enough. You know, when Vitor got kicked in his jaw, his eyeballs were, like, through the universe. His chin ended up near his left ear. Both of his legs just evaporated, and then he fell back onto his own ankles like he was doing some Thriller shit. Round 3 knockout for Donald Cerrone. Yeah, there's like a few updated things, new music, new menu and stuff like that, but I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't really seem like that big of a difference between UFC 3 to UFC 4, and it's been like 2 or 3 years since that point. I mean, I play Call of Duty year in and year out, so I'm used to, you know, EA-esque type of things, so am I gonna say I'm surprised? Not really. I don't want to play Rust anymore. I still need to figure out what type of hair I have. I don't know what I don't know. I didn't even know that there were different words for different hair types. It was just either curly or not. I don't know. They had all these different weird code names and shit for them. 2A, 2B, 3A. I had no idea that was a thing. I don't know if I'm like 2 or 3 or what's going on here. Maybe like a 2C? I don't know. And then I look up the hairstyles and all these guys are just way, way better looking than me. Like, how am I supposed to have cool hair like that guy? He's got like a chiseled ass jaw. His beard gets faded and shit. It looks like he goes to the barber like once every week. So usually the nice thing about hardcore is that near every single weapon in the game is, you know, viable in this mode. Except the HOLGER. I just hit marked that guy at least in the chest. At least in the chest, and it did not kill. Another hit marker, maybe in the shoulder. It should be 1 bullet. In regular core, the Falcon 1 bullet me. I was getting some complaints on the video. They're like, oh yeah, well no shit. Obviously having the best hipfire stuff on is gonna make your hipfire great, dude. And you're playing hardcore. And it's like, these are the same people that look up Warzone class loadouts. You pick the strong gun, put the big barrel on it, choose monolithic or not, and then you just have a whole bunch of stuff that just keeps it from having any recoil. Your guns aren't hard to use or build. This game is not that complex, guys. It's really not. Like recoil, put 80 different things that don't have any recoil on it. You're playing a game mode where no one cares about how fast you ADS anyway. When you can shoot someone from 800 meters, who cares? I mean, let's be honest. Let's stop acting like it's hard to control these weapons at that point. At least in multiplayer, when people are building them for speed, at least there's a little bit of recoil somewhere. All of these class setups are obvious, man. It was a joke. No brain activity class setup. Hey, that's for you guys out there that randomly get drunk and high while playing this stuff. There you go. No brain activity build. I think REQUIS will still enjoy this game. But EA, please, listen, look. We need better knockout animations. It needs to be cinematic. You understand? It needs to be dramatic. It needs to look like that person just got ended. It's a video game. You understand? Scary in real life when that kind of stuff happens, but everyone's still tuning in. Do the same thing in a video game. These aren't real people dying. It's okay if when REQUIS punches somebody in the jaw, it's alright if their head does like 3 spins, so long as their body falls apart like a house of cards. That's what we're looking for. Please don't disappoint us.